Hi. Today we're going to talk about epidemic sweeping the United States. What has caused as many deaths as all the recent American wars combined? What takes 115 lives every single day in America? It's the opioid epidemic sweeping our nation. It's been in the making for several years, so today we're going to talk about what it is, how it came about, and what we can do to help. I myself have been working in recovery one-on-one with others for several years, and I've done a lot of research on the subject as well. So it's very dear to me. It's a scary concept. If you think about the Health and Human Services, they give us numbers. 46,000 Americans died in the year 2016 just due to opioid overdoses alone. And a lot of times when you think about opioids and overdoses, you consider heroin and needles, and that's really not the case. So let's talk about what it is, how it happens, and what we can do. 19,000 of those deaths were just from prescribed medications alone. Now, at some point in time, you or I or someone you know has had their wisdom teeth pulled or broken something or had surgery and been prescribed these medications. Well, years ago in the early 2000s, they were prescribing this medication off the charts, and there was a pharmaceutical company that was really pushing, saying that they were good and they were fine. And if you were a nurse at that time, they would always talk about the fifth vital sign, and that would be pain, because you would want the patient to be comfortable. So it was easy to push, easy to sell, and actually the pharmaceutical companies made money. That was from Health and Human Services. Well, that's known as Vicodin, which is like a hydrocodone, Oxycontin, which is an oxycodone, and then fentanyl. Those are all the synthesized type. The normal opium is morphine derived from the poppy plant. The Vicodin, hydrocodone, and Oxycontin, those are synthesized. And there's also one called fentanyl, which is very dangerous, very hard to detect, and 10,000 times stronger than morphine. So, or I'm sorry, 100 times stronger than morphine. And what's the difference between those and street drugs? Well, not a lot. They do the same thing. Surprisingly, it's not much. The same opioids prescribed by your physician do the same thing for the illicit drugs sold on the street. They block the physical and emotional pain receptors in the brain, which in turn produces excess amount of dopamine, which is your feel-good neurotransmitter or hormone. After repeated use, they become more addictive, and you also need more, so you build a tolerance up for it. Now, the CNN library says that the epidemic has been in the making for the last several decades throughout farm companies and everybody pushing them. So now we know what it is. Let's talk about how it's affected and who is affected. And the question and the scary answer is everybody. If they don't care. The epidemic is if you're poor, if you're rich, if you're young, if you're old, if you're a man, if you're a woman, unfortunately even if you're a child. That feeling that it produces, suppressing any type of emotional pain and physical pain, is quite numbing, and it makes it easy to fall into a horrible cycle of just using and suppressing, using and suppressing. The hardest thing about the drug is trying to stop using it, because once your body requires it, then it's hard to stop. You go into complete withdrawals, your body is sick, your gastro functions are completely out of whack, you're sweating, you're vomiting. It's like a flu for 5 to 10 days, and you're completely just unable to function. And the scary thing is, it's in our medicine cabinets. I watched a really recent video about this guy, TED Talk, on John Hari, and he spoke about the opposite of addiction is sobriety. It's not sobriety, it's connection. Because a lot of times when we're lost in our addiction, we isolate and we just worry about getting another drug, or not focusing on life, but focusing on making sure that we can get through the next day and get that next one. But the opposite of that is making sure that someone's there, that you're loving them in their worst and in their best, that you're just by their side and they have your support. It's hard because no one's ready until they're actually ready. But when they are, you can just let them know that you'll be there. So recent events and publication has made it now available than ever. There's hotlines, there's resources in every town, every community. So just make sure that you don't give up and you always give love. Thank you for listening, and this is something that's dear to my heart. And if I can survive and I can recover, anyone can. So make sure that you're given hope and love, and take care of you and yours.